Alright guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Caroline and today we're going to be doing a handstand flow. This class is called Get on Your Hands. So it's pretty amazing. Our bones throughout our entire life, they're constantly growing in width. We call this appositional growth. And you know, when you're younger, you're growing in length, so you get to a certain point when you're about 20 years old and your growth plate seals off. But the bone is constantly, there's always being this calcium replenishment, there's always collagen fibers that are being laid down and they're all being calcified, which allows and encourages the bone to continue to grow in in width. But when we start to live more sedentary lifestyles, when we're sitting on the couch, when we turn into our little couch potatoes watching Netflix, what happens, especially if you don't use any weight-bearing activities, your bones can become really brittle and they can break very easily. So this class is building up to handstand, but have no fear if you don't like practicing handstands. There's going to be it's just a lot of learning how to shift the weight into your hands and learning how to keep your arms nice and straight. We want to keep the fingers kind of spreading open, not too much, but just at the perfect distance. And there's just a lot of benefits that we can receive by putting healthy stress on our bones, and that's what this class is all about. So if you have a block, that's awesome. Have one handy. If not, no worries. We're gonna get started laying on our back, coming into a bridge pose. So just have your blocks at the front of the mat. We don't need them at the moment. Arms come down by your side, and you can even grab onto the edges of your mat. And from here, we'll lift the hips up into bridge. Kind of a low bridge. We want the thoracic spine pretty much still on the floor. We want to find that lift through the lumbar spine, kind of where that curve is in the low back. And then we want to tuck the tailbone. That's a very important part about becoming more confident in your handstanding capabilities, is learning how to tuck the tailbone so that we can use the glutes and we can find this, we call it the posterior tilt. So we'll get into that a little bit more later. From here, I want you to rise up onto the ball of the right foot and then lower the right heel. Lift the left heel and lower, and we'll keep going. This is also another very important part of kicking up to handstand is finding this springiness in your feet. And oftentimes I see a lot of people, especially as we age, we just don't use that springfulness. So we might be encouraging some skipping actions and some bouncing kind of movements we don't often see in yoga classes, but they're really good for the cardiovascular system and to kind of get your body to be able to respond to stimuli. We're just creating these new neural pathways. And then we're going to do both heels at the same time. So just lift both heels and lower, and we'll keep going for 10, 6, 3, 2, last one, and then we'll slowly lower down, segmentally, one vertebra at a time. We'll lift your legs straight up to the ceiling and interlace your fingers behind your head. Squeeze your elbows together. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, lift your head and lift your shoulders. Reach your elbows up higher, but let your head be heavy, kind of resting in your hands. We're going to inhale and slowly lower the head down without letting your spine pop up off the floor. And exhale and lift up head and shoulders. Bend your left knee to a 90-degree angle. And take the right arm up towards the ceiling. Reach with that right arm. Feel the shoulder blade kind of glide away from your spine. And we'll bring the right hand behind the head. Left leg lifts up. Inhale and slowly lower. Exhale and lift head and shoulders. Bend your right knee to a 90-degree angle and reach the left arm up, higher and higher. Bring the left hand behind the head, right leg lifts, inhale and slowly lower the head. Exhale and lift head and shoulders. We're gonna bend your left knee and send your right leg away from you. We'll take the left arm up and reach it higher. Bring the left hand behind the head, right leg comes back up, straighten the left leg, inhale and slowly lower the head down. Exhale and lift up head and shoulders. We'll bend your right knee, left leg drifts away as the right arm reaches up. Reach it higher. Bring the right hand behind the head, right leg straightens, left leg centers, inhale and lower. Exhale and lift up, head and shoulders. We'll bend your left knee, right leg drifts away. Twist to the left, and then reach your right arm out, and reach it further. Bring the right hand behind the head, come to center. Right leg comes to center, left leg straightens, inhale and lower. Exhale and lift up. We'll bend your left knee, right leg drifts away, twist to the right, left arm reaches out, reach it further. Left hand comes behind the head, come to center. Bring the knees into your chest, and you can slowly rock from side to side. Big, huge breath in through the nose. Exhale, let it go through the mouth. Come on up to tabletop pose on hands and knees. So a very important muscle that we want to get active is the serratus anterior, and it's this muscle that connects medially from the scapula, and it travels all the way, and it kind of looks like extra pairs of ribs that sit, and they kind of look like fingers that's serrated. It's called the serratus anterior because it does have a serrated edge. And this muscle often is very dormant in people. It was dormant in me for many, many years, and so I started to do some of these exercises to start to stimulate that muscle. So we're gonna come to tabletop pose. We always want your pointer fingers to point directly forward, and we want the shoulders to stack over the wrists. We don't wanna keep the fingers close together. We wanna spread them apart just a little bit. And then without doing this actual action, we wanna dial the hands out to the side. As you dial the hands out to the side, the biceps come forward and the triceps wrap towards the back of the mat. If you have a hard time straightening your arms, just really focus on squeezing the triceps as hard as you can. And then go down to about 70% effort. So from here, I really love these exercises. I call them scapular push-ups. I do them in most every class. So I'll walk you through them. We'll keep the arms really straight. Keep the biceps rotating forward as the triceps wrap back, and squeeze your shoulders down away from your ears. You might start to feel a little bit of heat coming from like underneath the armpit. That's great. Keep the arms straight and then soften the chest, like let it melt down towards the floor. Press the floor down and away. Feel the chest as it lifts up from the floor. Keep the arms straight, lower the chest, shoulder blades squeeze together on the back. Press the floor down and away as the chest lifts up. We're gonna keep going, really working on keeping those shoulder blades down away from the ears and just feeling them glide on the back of the ribs. Use your fingertips. And then we're gonna come down. So keep the arms straight, but soften the chest down. And find a little cat pose. So kind of lift, a little cow pose. So lift your tailbone and drag your chest forward. And then from here, we're gonna lift the belly just a little bit until you feel the shoulder blades kind of meet the back of the ribs. And from here, we're gonna step back into plank. The hips are pretty low. Tuck your tailbone, find that posterior tilt, and then we're gonna send the hips up and back. Downward dog as you lower onto your forearms. Relax the head, relax the neck. Gazes towards your toes. Bend your knees a little bit as you lift your hips higher. So the shoulder strength is a huge part of this practice of working into handstands, of getting onto your hands in general, like tabletop, downward dog. We want to continuously encourage that appositional bone growth. And we also want to continuously, throughout our lives, put healthy stress on the bones and muscles so that they can be nice and strong. From here, we'll lift the right leg up as you inhale and exhale out the mouth. Big breath in and exhale, slowly release the right foot as you lift the left leg. You can have a little bend through this right knee, but lift your waist higher. One more breath. And exhale, release the left foot down. Come onto your knees and rise up, tabletop pose. We'll send your left foot back behind you. Keep the toes on the floor and we'll find some kind of bouncing with a little buoyancy through the feet. Just kind of shifting the weight forward and back. And then we're gonna come, so the shoulders are just stacked over the wrists. We'll start to lift your left hip and your left foot and row the left arm. For our version of modified side plank, you want to keep the tummy nice and firm, and we can start to take the left arm up to the ceiling. Gaze can be right down to your right hand. Big breath in, and big breath out. Big breath in. And we'll exhale, release the left hand, close the hips so they point down towards the floor. Bring your left toes to the floor and send your right leg up and back, one-legged downward dog. Lower the right foot slowly, come onto your knees, tabletop pose. Slide your right foot back, keep the toes on the floor, and we'll kind of bounce forwards and backwards. Just feeling that springfulness in the foot. And then we'll just bring the shoulders back so they stack over the wrists. Start to lift your right hip and your right foot, and we'll row this right arm. Gaze is down to the left hand. Kind of dial that left hand out. And we'll start to lift the right arm up, keeping the gaze down to the left hand. 2 breaths here. And we'll exhale, slowly release. Bring the right toes to the floor as your left leg reaches up and back. One-legged downward dog. And we'll release this left foot down. Inhale here in downward dog. Rotate the biceps up towards the ceiling. Exhale here. Inhale, lift your gaze. Step or jump forward. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, arms reach up. And exhale, stand tall. Front of your mat, mountain pose. Inhale, arms lift. Interlace the fingers, point your finger points up to the ceiling, and we'll exhale, arch to the right. Reach higher with that left shoulder blade. Inhale, rise up. Exhale to the left. Inhale, rise up, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen up halfway. Exhale, step back, plank. Lower onto the knees and lower slowly, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Cobra. Pull your hands towards the back of the mat. Exhale, press back. Downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the right leg up. And exhale, we're going to step your right foot forward as far as it'll go. If you need to use your hand, feel free. Lower onto the left knee, and we'll rise up. So let's work on that posterior pelvic tilt here. And as you notice, I'm in kind of like a 90-90 lunge. I'm not getting really deep into the front hip flexor. So what I want to do is kind of tuck your tailbone, fire up the left glute, and you can bring your left hand to your low belly and the right hand behind you. And you want to think about these areas being sandwiched and pulled in together. That's going to help you find your float, find your core when you're going upside down. We'll bring your hands to the floor. Step your right foot back, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the left leg. Exhale, step the left foot forward. You can use your hand if you want. Come onto the right knee. Right hand to the front of the belly, left hand to the low back. Sandwich these areas together as you posteriorly tilt your pelvis. Tuck the tailbone. Lightly squeezing the right glute. One more breath. And we'll bring the hands to the floor. Step the left foot back. Downward facing dog. Dial the hands out. Biceps wrap up towards the ceiling. Finding that external rotation of the upper arm bones. Inhale, lift the gaze. Step or jump forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, arms lift high overhead. And exhale, stand tall, mountain pose. Inhale, arms lift. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, step back, plank. So we'll stay here. You can lower onto your knees if you would like, but we're gonna do those same scapular push-ups here. So keeping the arms straight, soften the chest down towards the floor, press the floor down and away. Feel the shoulder blades move away from each other. We'll keep doing this action, really working on the movement of the shoulder blades. Keep that tailbone tucked under and the core nice and strong. Last one, and we'll lower all the way onto your stomach. Bring your hands underneath your forehead. And I want us to work on that area that we were sandwiching earlier in the lunge pose. So from here, imagine the area just a couple of inches right below your navel, right below your belly button. And I want you to imagine that the floor is lava. So you're trying to pick that area up off the floor because it's hot. And we want to imagine that it's lifting up so forcefully, but we're also simultaneously contracting the glutes and pressing the hips down into the floor. From here, you can take your arms out long and imagine that you're in a handstand. So squeeze the legs together, lift that low belly, gaze is in between your thumbs, and reach out through the hands, reach back through the toes. Big, huge breath. Use your chest to breathe. And relax. You can shimmy your hips from side to side. Take a big breath here. And exhale through the mouth. We'll tuck your toes. Bring your seat towards your heels. Coming into kind of a tucked-toed child's pose. Lift up through the armpits as you reach out through your fingers. We'll walk your hands back. Come back into tabletop. Tuck the toes and hover the knees. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Just press your hips up towards the ceiling and we'll find downward facing dog. Find that same area right below the navel. Hug and pull it in. Inhale, lift the gaze. Step or hop forward. Lengthen up halfway. Exhale, fold, keeping the spine long. Inhale, arms lift. And exhale, stand tall, mountain pose. If you have some blocks handy, you might want to have them the front of the mat. But if not, do not worry. We'll bring your right knee in front of the chest. And here, I want you to imagine that you're pulling this right thigh up so high. Imagine there's like a scarf or something that you don't want to drop that's in between your thigh and your belly. And we're gonna do that by tucking the tailbone, firing up the left glute. And then we'll take your arms to the sky, flex your hands, and maybe start to take the gaze up to your hands. It's a little bit harder this way, but these are things that we're actually doing when we're in handstands. We're gonna fly the right leg and arms back, warrior three. And we're gonna bring your hands down to the blocks, or you can bring your hands down to the floor. The floor is actually, it's a little bit better for you to really get your hands grounded on the earth. And we can achieve this by bending your left knee really generously. But if that's not happening in a comfortable way to you, the blocks are so good for providing that little extra lift. And then from here, we're gonna rise back up, right knee in front of the chest, arms lift. Find that tuck of the tailbone. Maybe take your gaze up to your hands. And we'll fly back, warrior three. Hands come down to blocks or to the floor. Root down strong through the left leg to rise up. Right knee in front of the chest, arms lift. Find your little gaze shift up towards the ceiling. And then release it all down. Shake it up. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, step the right foot back and lower onto the right knee. Top of the right foot. We're gonna bring your arms out in front of you and then bend your elbows. And from here, we're gonna pulse the shoulders back. So a lot of us have this tendency of rounding and slouching the shoulders. And this is a really good exercise to fire up all the muscles of the back so that we can have our shoulders more supported. We can find more space through the chest. And you can do this a lot all day long. Just kind of imagine those shoulder blades are pulsing towards each other. And we'll keep going for 3, 2, last one. Bring your right hand to the floor. Left hand comes behind the head, just rotate to the left. One more breath. Bring both hands to the floor. Tuck your right toes and straighten the right leg as you straighten the front leg. Pyramid pose. You can have your knees pretty, generously bent. And from here, we're gonna come back into that standing split. So walk your hands forward as you pick up the right leg. Ground down through the left leg, rise on up, right knee in front of the chest, arms lift. Maybe even take your gaze up. And release and stand tall. We'll do the other side. So left knee lifts. Imagine there's something here that you're trying to hold on to. Tuck your tailbone, use your right glute, and take the arms up to the ceiling. From here, we're gonna fly back, warrior three. And we'll bring your hands down to the floor or to blocks, standing splits. Press down through your right foot to lift. Left knee in front of the chest, arms reach up. Take your gaze to the ceiling. Fly back, warrior three. And bring your hands to the floor, standing splits. One more time. Ground out through the right leg, left knee lifts, arms reach up. Gaze is up to the hands. And we'll fly back, warrior three. Hands to the floor, standing splits. Okay, I lied, sorry, this is the last one. Rising back up. Left knee comes in front of the chest. And we release and stand tall. Inhale, arms lift. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, step your left foot back, lower onto the left knee. We'll rise up and bend your elbows, and we'll pulse. So keep that sensation, feel all those muscles, like maybe what's changed. Maybe they're a little more fired up. We want to keep that tailbone tucked and the left glute fired. These are so great for the back. So we'll keep going for 3, 2, and last one. We'll bring your hands to the floor, straighten both legs. Get your hands on the floor, keep your right knee bent. You can pull your right hip back a little bit. Pyramid pose. From here, we're gonna come on forward, standing splits. And then we'll rise up, left knee in front of the chest, arms reach up. Gaze maybe goes up to the ceiling. And we'll release and stand tall, mountain pose. All right, so we're going to work a little bit on kicking up to the wall. But I don't want you to be afraid. We can just do this on the mat first, and then we'll go towards the wall to maybe work on kicking up a little bit higher. So we'll come into downward dog. And this is just a very introduction to hopping, to handstand hopping. So I want you to bring your feet together. Big toes are glued together, maybe a little bit of space for the heels. And from here, we're just gonna take some hops. So bend your knees and then just hop off the floor. Hop again, keep going. And as you land, you want to have a pretty good bend through your knees. Okay, and then we'll come to the back of your mat and rise on up. And exhale and relax, just relax. Okay, so now we're gonna take that hoppiness, we're gonna apply it to the wall. So come to the wall near you. Okay, so we're gonna do a couple of different things with the wall. First, I want us to work on hopping up to handstand. So oftentimes what I see is people will be in a downward dog and we'll lift one leg up. And I'll say, take a few hops up to handstand. And oftentimes, from downward dog into a handstand requires a huge amount of energy. It's a pretty advanced way of getting into the pose. So what we want to do instead is we want to think about that standing splits action that we were just working. So you'll take one foot forward and then lift the other leg. From here, I can bend into this left knee pretty generously, and I can really use my fingertips and my hands to kind of provide this grounding down so that I can rise up. So there's two things going on. The bottom leg, we're having to use it as a spring. It's like a trampoline that's projecting us up to the wall. And then this other leg, I like to think of it as kind of like the compass. So it's like pointing north, and its job is to go north, okay? So I used my dominant leg for years and years when I was learning how to handstand, and I found out from doing some handstand trainings that you really want to work both legs. So give yourself a few times to just practice kicking up. So come into your down dog, step one foot forward, lift that other leg, bend your standing leg, and take a few hops. What we want to do is keep the gaze in between the thumbs. And if you want, you can focus on bringing one knee into the chest, kind of like that same pose that we were just working, just in a different direction. We were upside down. So take a little break. I know these moves can be pretty explosive and hard. I'm totally sweating. So just give yourself some breaks. Go take some water, pause the video, do whatever you need. And we'll do a few more things here. So you'll bring one foot up to the wall, kind of measuring your distance. And we'll turn around and bring your hands to where your feet are, or maybe a little further forward. And from here, if you don't want to go upside down, you can just stay in downward dog and work the same action. I'll show you first in down dog. We will be working on squeezing your traps up towards your ears and then relaxing. And then squeeze and relax. And you'll do this about 10 times. And if you want to go upside down, if you want to invert, you can walk your feet up the wall. And then we can work it here. Squeeze your traps up towards your ears and relax. Squeeze and relax. And this will really show you if you have any weakness in one side versus the other, which is very natural and normal. And once you get to 10, one foot comes out at a time. Take a little child's pose. Let your knees come wide and your head come to your hands. We'll take 2 more breaths. And as soon as you're ready, we'll rise on up. And we're gonna come back to our mat. We're gonna kind of tie all this together and do a few other things. It's just always a good idea to get some of the hard stuff out of the way first after you're warmed up, so that you can use your energy to work on kicking up to handstands. So we'll come back to your mat. So we'll come to the front of your mat in mountain pose, Tadasana. Bring your big toes together. Leave a little space for the heels. Bend your knees and find a chair pose as the arms lift up. Find that little bit of a tuck of the tailbone. And reach and grow up through your spine. Arms are straight. Squeeze the triceps. Biceps wrap up towards the ceiling. We'll inhale and exhale. Get a little bit lower. Breathe in. Exhale, get a little bit lower. And one more. We'll exhale, fold forward over the legs. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, step back, plank pose. We'll slowly lower, chaturanga. Come onto your knees. Inhale, cobra, lift the shoulders, squeeze them together on the back. And exhale, press back. Downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right leg. And we're gonna take some hops here. And remember, it takes a lot of effort to get all the way up. So just focus on this bottom leg, this bottom foot. And then we're gonna come with the right leg forward into a high lunge. From here, scoop the tailbone. Draw the low belly in, right below the navel. We'll take the arms up to the ceiling. Reach your arms higher, higher, higher. Squeeze the traps up towards your shoulders. And then relax them down a little bit away from the ears. Bring your left hand to the floor. Right arm lifts. Revolved lunge. Point your toes to the left of your mat. Bend your left knee. Right hand to the floor, keep the chest open, side lunge. We'll come to the front of the mat, fingertip lunge. Take your arms more forward, ground the palms as you lift the left leg. We're gonna inhale, rise up, left knee comes in front of the chest, right arm lifts up. We'll fly this left leg back. Take your left arm forward, coming into your warrior 3. To play with our balance, we're gonna just kind of dangle this left arm. Let it kind of sway like a pendulum. And then we're gonna come into goddess pose. So bring your left foot to the floor, come to a big old squat. We'll take the arms wide. This is another little variation we can do for the shoulders. And we're just gonna pulse them back. Really working on that action coming from the scapula, from the shoulder blades. And you can even find it lower, kind of like the lower tips of the shoulder blades, the middle tips, kind of the medial border. And we're gonna come to the front of your mat, hands to the floor, right leg lifts up and back. Maybe lower onto your forearms for a dolphin. with one leg. From here, if you feel like it, you can rise up onto the left tippy toes and then lower. Rise up onto the left tippy toes and lower. One more time. And then release your right foot down, come onto your knees. Tabletop pose, we'll keep the arms straight. Soften the chest down. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Press the floor down and away. Keep going. I'm gonna work on just keeping the arms straight, just finding this kind of drop in the chest and this lift of the chest. You can always come into a plank if you want to work this a little bit more. And we'll all come back downward facing dog. Big breath in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Maybe a few more of those if you need it. We'll lift your right leg, full breath in. And we'll exhale, work on those hops. Keep the arms straight. And we'll take the left foot forward, rising up for a high lunge. Remember to tuck the tailbone. Take the arms high. And we'll reach your traps up towards your ears. One more breath. We'll bring your hands to the floor and walk them forward, lifting the right leg, standing splits. Press down through your left foot to rise up. Right knee and left arm. Fly back, warrior three, and let your right arm just dangle. And we'll add that little bit of challenge into the balance by taking the right arm forward and back. And then we'll come into a big goddess squat. So bring your right foot to the floor, take the arms wide like you're about to give someone a hug. But you're not because it's quarantine. And we'll pulse the arms back for a couple of moments. And from here, you can probably see what is happening on a muscular level, kind of to the scapula as we do these pulses. They feel funny, but they feel great too. We'll keep going for 3, 2, and last one. Bring your hands forward, fingertip lunge. Side lunge, point your toes to the right side of the mat as you bend your right knee. Left hand comes to the floor, keep your chest open. Take a huge breath. Come to the front of the mat, lift your left leg up and back, one-legged downward dog as you lower onto your forearms into dolphin. We'll take a few hops here, just rising up onto the ball of the right toe and lowering. Rise up and lower one more time. And release the left leg, come onto your knees. Find a child's pose. Let yourself settle. Let yourself arrive and come back to your breath. Feel the effects of your work. So let yourself come to a peaceful place. We'll slowly begin to rise, finding tabletop. We'll take your left foot out to the side. Make sure your your right knee and your left toes are aligned. From here, we're going to lift your left arm out to the side and then sew the left arm underneath the right. Left shoulder and left ear come to the floor. If this doesn't feel good in your left hip, feel free to just keep the left knee down on the floor. If you want, you can take the right arm out long, focusing on lifting up through the right side of your ribs. Bring your right hand back, press yourself back up into kind of this little table pose. And we'll take your left foot more forward. Row the left arm as you start to lift your left leg. We'll take it back behind you and lift the left arm, modified side plank. And lower tabletop pose. We'll send the right foot out to the side, keep the toes and knee in the line. Inhale, lift the right arm, open up. Exhale, sew the right arm underneath the left. Right shoulder right here to the floor. And take the left arm out long. Bring your left hand back, press yourself on up to table. Take your right foot more forward and row your right arm as you karate kick this right leg up into the back. The right arm lifts. Lower the right hand, the right knee, tuck your toes, and lift up into downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the right leg. Here we go for some hops again. Try to take 3. And we'll meet with the right foot forward, rising up into a high lunge. We'll keep the arms down by your side and just roll out your shoulders, rolling them one at a time up and back. We'll take the arms up, high lunge, full breath in, and exhale, open up warrior 2. Inhale, reach back, peaceful warrior. Exhale, side angle, right forearm to right thigh, left arm reaches up and over. Rotate this left side of your ribs back. We'll inhale, rise up, warrior 2. And we're gonna come into half moon. You might wanna use a block. If not, no worries. We're just gonna glide your right hand forward as you lift your left foot up. The goal is to get the right hand on the floor. So if you have to bend your right knee to do that generously, no worries. You can stay here or you can add in a quad stretch, grabbing on to the left ankle. You might wanna rise up on 2 fingertips. And we'll come back into warrior 2. Cartwheel your hands to the floor, step the right leg up and back. One-legged downward dog. And release the right foot slowly. Inhale, lift the left leg. And here we go, 3 hops. As big or small as you want. And we'll meet with the left foot forward. High lunge. We'll take the arms down by your side and roll out the shoulders. Here now there's little creaks and pops, that's okay. And we'll take the arms high, full breath in. Exhale, open up, warrior 2. Inhale, reach up and back, peaceful warrior. Exhale, side angle. Left forearm to left thigh, right arm to the front of the mat. 2 breaths here. Inhale, rise up, warrior 2. Prepare for half moon. Bring your left hand to the floor and lift the right leg. Tuck the tailbone here. You want to find that posterior pelvic tilt. You can stay here or grab onto the right ankle. We'll fly back out, warrior 2. Cartwheel the hands to the floor. Left leg lifts up and back. One-legged down dog. Release the left foot down. Come onto your knees and we'll roll onto your back. Keep your knees bent and your feet on the ground. We'll just windshield wiper your knees from side to side. And we'll take your right leg straight up to the ceiling. Interlace your fingers behind the right thigh. You can kind of pulse this right leg a little bit if you want, or you can stay still. Keep your chin moving toward your chest. Shoulder blades find the floor. And if you want, you can take peace sign fingers around the right big toe. Your job is to really focus on getting this right shoulder back. And maybe we can take the left leg long. And we'll take 3 breaths here, breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Last one. Bend your right knee deeply. Take the right knee out to the right side. Press your left thigh bone down to the floor. And then we'll release the toe and take a spinal twist. Right knee comes all the way to the left. Arms extend out to the side, and we're going to focus on stacking the hips. And you can maybe hover this right arm off the floor so you can feel a nice opening through the front of the pec. And then we'll bring that right shoulder to the floor. Come back onto your back. Ground your right foot as you lift the left leg, interlacing your fingers behind the left thigh. You can stay here or pulse the leg. These allergies, y'all. They are happening. In New Orleans for sure. And if you want, you can take peace sign fingers around the left big toe. Take the right arm out, and you can straighten the right leg, working on getting the shoulders back. You can bend your knees to do that. No problems. Press that right thigh bone down. We'll add that spinal twist, so bend your left knee, release the toe. Left knee comes all the way over towards the right elbow. We're going to stack the hips and maybe hover that left arm for just a few moments, and then we'll ground that left shoulder. Lift your left knee back up and release the left foot down. We'll cross the right ankle on top of the left knee. Interlace your fingers behind the left thigh. Close your eyes and listen to the sounds around you. We'll slowly bring this left foot down, switch sides. Interlacing fingers behind the right thigh. Both feet are flexed. And we'll slowly release. Both feet to the floor. Lift back up into bridge. We'll bring your elbows close underneath your bum, and we'll bring your hands kind of to the top of the glutes. And from here, you can play with lifting one knee up at a time, or maybe you can lift both legs up, coming into a version of shoulder stand. Slowly bend one knee at a time, bringing the feet down, coming onto your back. We'll take happy baby, grabbing onto the outer blades of the feet. And when you're ready, We'll come into Shavasana, the final rest. Breathe in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Take a couple of breaths here before you lose that consciously, that conscious breath, and just allow your automatic reflexes to come in to control the breath for you and just observe it. Observe the intelligence that your body has. Really relax through the jaw and the throat. If you'd like to pause the video and stay in Shavasana, please do so at this time. As soon as you're ready to arise, we'll bend your knees into your chest. Roll over to the right side or whichever side is easiest for you. And we'll press yourself up to seated. Joining the hands in prayer, bowing into your practice. Bowing into different ways that we can connect within ourselves. So always remember to do some good work on your hands. Find that buoyancy through your feet. Learning how to fly. Thank you guys for sharing your practice and for practicing with me. Have a good rest of your day.